Good morning, my beautiful listeners. What's happening? My name is Ronan. This is the Little Seal English Podcast. This is a very, very quick podcast all about one simple idiom to name drop. Before I start the podcast, please go to my website and please enter the competition. I have a giveaway happening right now, and it's going to be up in like 3 days' time and like 70 something hours, I think. And what do you get in the giveaway? Well, all you got to do is register, and you have an opportunity to win. What can you win again? You have an opportunity to win podcast workbooks, Canadian Wildlife podcast transcripts and keyword bundle, and about 20 other podcast transcripts, keyword lists, and a whole bunch of other stuff. The workbooks are where the real gems are. The workbooks are based on real conversations I've had with people, unplanned, natural, authentic, filthy, sexy, beautiful, real English. And you have a chance to get it all. So you should go to my website, littlesealenglish.com, scroll down a little bit, and you will see enter the giveaway. That's what you should do right now. And then continue listening or watching the podcast. For now, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoy. Good morning, you beautiful people. What's happening? This podcast is only going to focus on name drop, a beautiful idiom. We're going to describe what it is, how people do it, why people do it, and the consequences, I guess, of doing it, of name dropping. But before I get into name dropping, have I ever told you about the time when I saw Cillian Murphy live? You know Cillian Murphy, the famous actor from like Oppenheimer and Peaky Blinders, Batman, that guy? Yeah, I saw him. Absolutely sensational. It was like at a small theatre on the west coast of Ireland in a place called Galway. And yeah, absolutely amazing. I was like 2 meters away from him. Aren't I cool? Aren't I amazing? Because I was in the same room as Cillian freaking Murphy. That, ladies and gentlemen, is an example of name dropping. Name dropping is when you drop a person's name into a conversation, when you mention a person's name in a conversation for a variety of reasons. Like you can name drop anywhere at all. You can name drop when you're having a chat with friends, in a job interview. You can name drop outside a nightclub, for example. If you're flirting with someone, you might name drop to make yourself seem just a little bit cooler than you really, really are. But the question is why? Why do people name drop? Well, I've kind of like broken it up into a few different reasons. And number one, people name drop when they want to try and make themselves seem more important than they actually are. For instance, instead of discussing the project, he spent the entire meeting name dropping about all the influential people he's met. He keeps name dropping his father-in-law. I think he's a little bit self-conscious. The new worker dropped his father's name a couple of times, thinking it would help him. Oh, sorry, I can't meet on Tuesday. I'm actually golfing with the mayor on Tuesday. Is Wednesday good for you? So there's a couple of examples of me name dropping or using name drop as a verb. So instead of discussing the project, he spent the entire meeting name dropping about all the influential people he's met. Probably because he believes that by meeting these influential people and by telling a story about the times he hung out with them or spent time with them, he will appear more cool, more important. In the second example, I said he keeps name dropping his father-in-law. He's very self-conscious. And I added the self-conscious part because I feel that if you're at work or somewhere and you keep name dropping or dropping your father-in-law's name because they hold sway, because they hold power or something, it's probably going to reflect poorly on yourself. So we name drop, like I said, when we try to make ourselves seem more important. Now, we also name drop when we want to make something seem more impressive than it actually was. So maybe you did something that wasn't so great. It was good, but not amazing. But when you name drop, it looks better. It sounds better than just a regular old story. For instance, he loves to name drop whenever he talks about his time working in Hollywood. Hollywood, the place where all those big action movies are made. Doesn't really produce any good movies anymore, but it used to. Hollywood, where celebrities are a dime a dozen. And I don't know if you've ever been there. If you have, you know what it's like. It's just a regular city, I guess. Nothing fancy, famous people everywhere. And yeah, if he always name drops whenever he talks about his time working in Hollywood, he's just trying to make his time working there sound a lot better. You know? I mean, celebrities, like I said, are a dime a dozen there. Another example. I was on holidays and I met Brad Pitt. Well, I didn't meet him, but I saw him. Like, with binoculars. But I still saw him. Isn't that amazing? So in that case there, I'm talking about holidays. I met Brad Pitt. Yeah, sure, you didn't meet Brad Pitt. You saw Brad Pitt from a distance. And it's an attempt to make the trip sound more impressive than it really was. So the first time we use name drop, or when we actually name drop, is when we try to make ourselves seem more important. The other times could be when we want to make something sound more impressive than it is. We also name drop to try and show a connection between us and someone famous. For example, she always name drops her famous clients to make herself seem more important. She always name drops her famous clients to make herself seem more important, to make us believe she's actually friends with these people. What she doesn't tell you is that she's a cleaner and she goes to their house 3 times a week to clean up, and they hardly acknowledge her. But to name drop in that situation, that is trying to make yourself seem more important or more cool. He cannot tell a story without name dropping a celebrity. I do not believe half of what he says. He can't tell a story without name dropping some celebrity that apparently he was friends with. I don't believe half of what he says. Oh, when I was having dinner last week with my friend Tom. Yeah, Tom Cruise, you might have heard of him. He does movies, I think. Or, I was hanging with Barack the other day. Yeah, we were just shooting the breeze, having a good time. Barack, you've probably seen him on TV. He was in politics for a while there. So, but yeah, great guy. There's a prime example of name dropping. Now, obviously, if I say something like that, you're not going to believe it because I am a language teacher in Western Canada. And no, I did not hang out with Barack Obama and I did not have dinner with Tom Cruise. But I guarantee you, when you hear famous people talk, they might drop that because it's more believable for them, obviously. So we name drop to try and show a connection between us and someone famous. Now, the other times that we can name drop are when we want to scare people or when we want to intimidate people. So do you remember in the first example, I mentioned how instead of discussing the project, he spent the entire meeting name dropping about all the influential people he's met? Or he keeps name dropping his father-in-law, for instance. In those cases there, maybe the person who is name dropping is doing it to intimidate the other workers around them to be nicer to them. Kind of like, do you know who my father is? Do you know who my father-in-law is? Do you know what my last name is? For instance. I also mentioned how I'm not free tomorrow. I golf with the mayor. Well, let's imagine that you golf or you're friends with the chief of police in town and a rookie police officer is trying to give you a speeding ticket. There's so many videos of this online. If you go online, you will see countless videos of people in positions of power trying to swing their big fucking dick around and say, well, son, do you know who my best friend is? It's your boss, so you better not write that ticket. That's name dropping. You're name dropping someone influential. Oh, my uncle Tony Soprano said I could stay here for tonight. Tony Soprano? Well, if you drop his name in a conversation, you bet things are going to get done. For those of you who don't know, first, shame on you. Second, watch The Sopranos. Tony is like the mafia dude. And yeah, if you were related to him, because he's dangerous, he's scary, he has a reputation, and if you name dropped him somewhere, who knows? You might get stuff done for you, no problem, because people are afraid. You could name drop, if you, like, I must say this though, I must absolutely say this, it's not really a positive thing. Like, I started this podcast by name dropping Cillian Murphy. That's not bad. That's just like an interesting story. It's a tidbit of information. I do not actually tell people that story because it was a show, whatever. However, if I'm watching TV and Cillian Murphy comes on and I'm with my friend, I'd be like, hey, I saw him live. Absolutely sensational. Regular conversation. That's okay. But if you're name dropping to intimidate a person, to try and appear cool, or to try get something, it's usually frowned upon. It's kind of negative. And if you get your way, it's not because people like you, respect you. It's because you dropped a name. You know, I'd rather get somewhere based on my merit, based on what I do myself, not based on a name that I'm able to just drop into the conversation. So, if you go to a restaurant and you know the manager and the server won't get you a seat or something, or the host won't sit you down, look, do you want me to call Tony? Because I can call Tony. He's my best friend. Now get me a seat, please. That's a really dick move. An absolute dick move to do. Anyway, let's have a quick revision before we wrap this podcast up. This very short podcast is literally just about name dropping. Name dropping is when you mention a person's name in a conversation, usually someone influential, important, or famous. Why do you do it? For various reasons. Number 1, to make ourselves seem more important. Number 2, to make a situation sound more impressive than it really is. Number 3, to try and show a connection between us and someone important, famous, or influential. And number 4, to threaten or to scare people. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That is a podcast about name dropping. Oh, last thing. A name dropper is the person who drops names. She is an absolute name dropper. So, there you go. I hope you are happy. I hope you are healthy. And that's it. Just 1 or 2 things before I go. Please share this podcast. That would be great. Please check out my YouTube. This is going on YouTube. I am going to be recording videos from now on, or for most of my podcasts when I'm not wearing my pajamas. I will record a video for YouTube, trying to get some views and traction going there. Please, by all means, go to my website and enter a giveaway, because this Friday, in like 3 days' time, I know there's not a lot of notice. I'm really sorry. I'm giving away a bunch of podcast materials. I'm giving away like ebooks, transcripts, language learning activities, lots of random stuff. So go to my website, littlesealenglish.com, scroll down and you'll see a little clock counting down until Friday. Enter that giveaway. It's 100% free. Kind of like to celebrate 100 different podcasts. So pretty happy about that. So many more plans coming up very soon. But the one that you need to do right now, go to my website, enter the giveaway. That is absolutely necessary, 1,000,000%. Otherwise, stay happy, drink some water, get some fresh air, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye for now.